Holy shit! I don't think anyone saw this coming. Welcome everybody to another ban list reaction video. I think I've said that on the last couple ban list reactions, but this one in particular is interesting. The way it dropped, when it dropped, pretty much because what I've noticed is with the last few ban lists, what tends to happen is when the date comes that one could potentially show up, we expect it to show up that day. But instead, it usually shows up like a week and a half later. And I've always felt like that's Konami really trying to like tease us, really like dangle it in front of us, like make us want it, make us be able to taste it, like, come on little boys, come on, come closer, come suck it, come on baby, come on! But this ban list was just like, boom, here we are, suck it, do it, now. I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that we just get it. There wasn't a lot of fanfare or build-up. Especially because I hate the fact that everyone does like 50 fucking ban list prediction videos. And, you know, I'd rather just get the list than listen to everybody's hot takes on why Mermaid should be banned. So, yeah, here we are. Also, like, I don't even really think we needed a ban list. Like, we didn't need anything nearly as big as that last list we got, which was, let's be real here, the greatest ban list of all time. This list is more of a cleanup list, but it also does a lot to bring a lot of cool shit back into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And considering the fact we were already in a much calmer, less oppressive format, seeing it even get less oppressive than that, I think there's a lot of interesting directions things could go. So let's just get right into it. First up with the ban stuff, because a lot of the stuff on the ban, because a lot of the first few things here are very obvious hits, and the stuff coming to 3 actually is really cool. So we'll get to that. First and foremost, Guard Dragon Agripane. Was anyone shocked? The Guard Dragons are degenerate, they are obnoxious, they give decks access to cards they should have no business getting access to, and Agripane is really the cherry on the top. Because, yeah, it's annoying that LP lets you get to Goliath, it lets you get to Sloth, Pisty lets you reuse shit like Ignisters and Darkness Metal Dragons, and all of those are very annoying, but those two cards require you to have to play bricks in your deck, whereas Agripane is like, you like Crystal Wing? You like Hot Red Dragon Archfiend? Here! That's what I really hated. Like, decks, a lot of decks that use this engine have no business making Crystal Wing, should have no ability to make Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane, but they do, or Abyss, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, but they do it, and yeah, it really is a pain in the ass. And I'm saying this as someone who did use the Card Dragon engine. It made me feel dirty. I needed a shower after Pro Play Tour Philly. I mean, for multiple reasons, but that was one of them. But yeah, no, it's good to see, and like, the ways that Agripane was supposed to be balanced out did not help. It is very easy to get the dragon materials out, so that is not really anything. And also, having an up arrow means nothing when you're just going to use that and the LP to then make a Hieratic Seal. So, this thing had to go. It was not healthy. Goodbye, no one's going to miss you. So then we have Nightmare Mermaid. Again, this one's pretty damn obvious. I think most people, no one liked this card when it first came out. For those of you who don't remember, and I think you probably do, this card was just like degenerate from day one, because what was the only target you could summon off it? Ibly! A card that was degenerate and oppressive, and people hated it. So yeah, this was a long time coming, and it's good to see Mermaid go. I don't really like cards getting banned, but this thing just really should never have been made. So yeah, so then we move on to the things going to 1. The only card going to 1, interesting, only one thing went to 1 here, is Widow Anchor went to 1, which is good, because Sky Striker just keeps coming back, and Widow Anchor is arguably their most powerful card, at least I think it is. So seeing it go to 1 is good to see. It essentially means the deck now has to try even harder to keep going. Will it still thrive? I don't know, because I think Widow Anchor's at 2 in Japan, but of course they have 1 Engage. So it's kind of hard to tell, because a lot of time, because with both of the last 2 hits, people thought Sky Striker would see a lot less play, but then it still ends up being arguably the best deck. So who knows? It's definitely going to be a better matchup, that's for certain, but with Sky Striker, you never can tell. So then going to 2, we only have 1 card on the list, and that is Dark Armed Dragon. on the one hand, like, I think Dark Arm Dragon is kind of, it's ironic because this used to be the most powerful card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, there was a time, this card was like hundreds of dollars. That was nuts. And I wasn't even playing competitive yet, but I knew. And here it is, it's at the point where it can come back to 2, and on the one hand, yes, because, like, every deck does what it does. Every deck has easy ways to summon its big-ass boss monster. Every deck has spot removal. The only thing that kind of worries me, though, and we'll get into this in a little bit, Orcust, because they've lost Mermaid, have to think a bit more outside the box now, and I can't help but wonder if 2 Dark Armed is going to tempt people. So it might see play, but I don't think it'll ever be at the point where it used to be. So I think at 2, it's fine. I don't think it's going to be a problem. And that's kind of it for things getting restricted. Well, obviously, Dark Arm came to 2, but it was restricted. This is really a cool list because there's so much emphasis put on what's coming back into the game and the level of decks that are now playable again. It's actually really fucking cool. So first and foremost, coming to 3 is the saddest thing on the list. Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. Fuck erratas, stop doing them. You know, I'd rather it just be banned for being legendary than be nerfed. But yeah, no. Envoy of the End is weakened to the point where it's borderline useless, so whatever. Let me cry with my tequila. So then going to 3 is a bit of a problematic card, I think. Destiny Hero Malicious at 3 is kind of insane. Like, for those of you who don't remember, like, this thing only got banned about a year ago, not even. And, like, it was because at 3 it was too much. Like, having easy access to 2 to 3 extra monsters is kind of insane. And you could say, well, Firewall Dragon's gone, Summon Sorceress is gone. The Dark Warrior engine is still fairly intact. And remember, Dark Warrior Orcust was already a thing, people. Like, this card could end up being actually really fucking relevant. Because I just think Orcust could really abuse it. Other decks can now abuse the Warrior engine, so who knows? Next list, it might go back to 2. So then we have Ether, the Heavenly Monarch. I don't like Monarchs personally, but it didn't do anything at 2. I can't imagine at 3 it'll be much better. I feel like there's nothing Monarchs do that True Draco doesn't, to a certain extent, do better. So at this point, yeah, let it come back to 3. Let the people who like the deck like it. And then we have my boy, my god, my king, my partner, my everything. Stratos is at 3. The time has come. He is here to stay. And with 3 Mally, I get a little worried. With 3 Malicious and Orcust, I get kind of worried because people were testing 1 Stratos in Goki just to get to the Mallies quicker. So you might see that here. We'll have to wait and see, but it's certainly cool. It opens up so many crazy deck possibilities. Last time Stratos was at 3, I wasn't even doing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh yet. So, this is cool to see one of the ban list's most legendary cards be able to come back and not need an errata. So then we have Inzektor Dragonfly. Same argument with Monarchs. If you like Inzektors, that's great. You have every right to play it. Now you can. Then we have Shrew It. Necros have sort of become the little deck that could. Like, it went from being this borderline tier 0 deck that everyone hated when it was originally out to being this deck we're all kind of rooting for. And I won't lie, I kind of am too. So with 3 Shrew It, they have more options for playability, and even if they do nothing, at least the diehard fans can use their Shrew Its. Then we have Shuttle Construct. Another meme card is free. Yeah, it's cool to see Construct come back. It should have happened so long ago. But no, it's great to see. It's great to see her in all her glory. Shuttles actually have a lot of power because they got 3 Construct. They got 3 Super Poly. Like, they can do some cool shit. And remember, as we saw from YCS Fort Worth, the Artifact engine can still be really powerful. So, who knows what'll happen next. But I'm excited to see what Shuttles can do now. And like with everything else, if they do nothing, hey, at least the fans can play them at full power. Then we have Royal Tribute. When this thing came to 2, a lot of people got really worried, but at 2 it didn't really do anything, so I can't imagine at 3 it'll be much worse. So then last but not least, we have Super Rejuvenation. So this is a card that's been on the ban list forever. And for the quick update, what got this thing killed was mostly E-Dragons, but back in the day, Super Rejuvenation was commonly used in deep draw Exodia decks, and it was just kind of one of those cards. It just kind of begs for you to use it in a way that's obnoxious. So it's not really a card I particularly like, but, there's nothing that can really use it right now, so I guess it's alright. If it's a problem, there's always the next list. So yeah, that was this ban list. Obviously not as big or crazy as epic as the last list, but it's a cool list. Like, it deals with the oppressive problems in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think that's what we all wanted to go. We're all enjoying this format. A lot of decks can top. The biggest problems were things like Mermaid, the Guard Dragons, and Widow Anchor, and they're what got addressed. And the rest of the list was just like, have fun, here's your shit. Kevin Jones, be miserable because Super Rejuvenation is back. But yeah, no, it's cool to see this list. I think it's a fun list, it's a great list, and it's going to make a great format, I think, even better. So yeah, tell me what you think about this ban list below. Do you think they missed anything? Do you think maybe the bans and limits are a little harsh? I can't imagine anyone really thinks that. But if you do, that's totally fine, and give you a reason. Tell me about all that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me tomorrow for the Joker review, because I finally got around to seeing that. And spoiler alert, I think the movie's kind of in the middle.